Hey everyone, welcome back. If you are subscribing to the YouTube channel, I truly appreciate you being here. I appreciate you showing up and tuning in to the content. And if you're new to the channel, hit subscribe if you like it, if it resonates with you. If not, no harm, no foul. But I hope that you guys enjoy what's going on here and you guys are getting something out of it, helping you to grow in a way that helps you expand as a man in your life and own your own authenticity and really just be able to connect with yourself so you can show up in a way that you're more aligned with throughout every situation that you encounter. So let's jump into today's episode. And in today, I want to talk about the lone wolf. I think there is a massive misconception of the lone wolf. We are taught that the lone wolf is what a man is supposed to be, and that they are stoic in that approach, and that is truly what a fierce, autonomous, sovereign man is, and he can do it all on his own. He doesn't need anything or anyone. He is the driving force for success and for vengeance or justice, whatever you want to do, because the lone wolf, the way that we see him in the masculine way within our culture, is truly developed by what we see on TV and in movies. And while that has been, a lot of it has been identified early on, especially for, much of our generation, and I say our generation as the, I think I'm a millennial, right? 35 years old. Is that what it is? But anyways, when we look at how masculinity has been taught, that the lone wolf is really the way to live, predominantly it comes from the silver screen. Predominantly it comes from, what we see from guys like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and John Wayne and Clint Eastwood. A lot of men still look back at those movies and watch them and really resonate with that. But in reality, how successful is a man who tries to survive on his own? It's not a very prevailing hypothesis. And looking at the lone wolf, we actually see more struggle and depression and sadness than we do with somebody who is determined to incorporate people who help them in their lives, whether it's supporting in somebody who can hold space for us, whether it's somebody to collaborate with, whether it's somebody to share words of wisdom or thoughts with, any of that. When we look at it and we look at men in general, the lone wolf has never been an actual hypothesis that really prevails in happiness, authenticity, and joy in life. And the reason I say this is because when we look at wolves in general, right? Wolves in general actually don't survive very long on their own. They run in packs. Wolves run in packs, and in that pack is where their success is. In that pack is where they have the ability to flourish and grow and evolve. But as a lone wolf, their time is limited. Hunts are incredibly hard. They don't have the ability to get fresh game a lot of times. It's more of scavenging to survive. And in the lone wolf, eventually they are unable to survive and their lifespan is shorter. So when men want to tell me that the lone wolf is the way to be, or that's the way that, men have seen the strength in masculinity, I tend to look at that with obviously a questioning mindset, because of the fact that it's not actually true. It's not even true for the species we're referring to, let alone for humanity. Men in general, obviously we are humans, and humans are social creatures. We're community-based creatures. And in that, we thrive with community and we thrive with a tribe of brothers. And so when we talk about really the lone wolf mentality, what we really mean is that there is an effect of being an alpha that is appealing to us, the alpha wolf maybe, but a wolf nonetheless that is within a community of other wolves. It is within the pack, because that's where it finds its strength. The same thing with the lion. The lion doesn't prevail alone. The lion prevails when it has its community. And so when we look at that, we have to take into consideration, well, why are we following a thought process of masculinity that isn't actually true? And this goes back to the development of the foundations of masculinity that we've kind of spoken about a little bit on the channel. But, talking about masculinity and how it is evolved throughout time, in the sense of, the outdated versions of like hegemonic masculinity, how that actually has caused a lot more distrust and a lot more conflicts than it has actually community and happiness in not only men's lives, but in society's growth as well. So when we look at the lone wolf, we have to ask ourselves, why is that the prevailing theme, or why is that the prevailing belief? And what is it that truly is the underlying effect of this that helps me to be a better man? Businesses don't thrive on their own. Men who have created multi-million-dollar massive infrastructures of businesses have never done it alone. 100% never done it alone. There's not a single person on this planet you can say has created a multi-billion or million-dollar business that's done it alone. It's just not, it's not true. And in that, even when we look at the elite athletes, we look at elite fighters, they've never done it alone. Nobody has. There's always a supporting cast. There are people who are there for them when the times get hard. There are people there to train them, who can help them refine their skills and work on their weaknesses. There are other people there who basically fill in the gaps for businesses, because maybe the man has, or the owner, the CEO, whatever you want to refer to him as, has the thought, but doesn't have the skills to do everything else. So what do? They contract, employ, and they get other people to fill in those gaps. Nobody has gone alone, guys. Yes, it makes for a great movie. Yes, it makes for a great TV series. No, it doesn't actually apply to life. And so when we think about the lone wolf mentality, we have to think about why that is even out there. Why is that a theme that we even want to buy into when it's not actually real? It's never served a man in real life, and it's never even served the men in the movies that are trying to say that the lone wolf is a strong masculine figure. Most of those men in those movies have supporting cast members that help them. James Bond had Q, right? And James Bond had his tools that were developed by Q, or he had Moneypenny, or he had the woman, or M, right? The guy, man or woman, whoever, M, but the boss, right? Those people were involved. And then you look at even the characters that have been portrayed by, many of our favorite actors, there tends to be underlying supporting figures. So defining yourself as a lone wolf doesn't necessarily make you strong, men. And it doesn't necessarily make you somebody who others look up to. A lot of times when we see people struggling on their own, it becomes more or less the awareness that they're doing it on their own because they actually don't have any belief in themselves or in what they're trying to create, because they're not willing to humble themselves to bring in support. So let that sit for a second. Humble yourself to bring in support. How can we do that to actually create a tribe, to create a pack that is strong, to create a group that actually creates progress, evolution, and movement? That's what we can really find power in, man. So asking yourself, where is it that you can humble yourself to ask for support, to find support, to get partnerships and collaborations? Because when you bring those people in to your life, you also put yourself in their life. And not only does that help you, it helps them. And with that, we tend to rise together. So for us men, a lot of times what the lone wolf looks like is we don't have a strong brotherhood around us. And the sad part about that is, while we can gain so much wisdom and support and love from our, sisters in this world, from the women, there tends to be a different bond with the men, with the brothers that we create. But if we're unwilling to humble ourselves and open up to having true brothership or brotherhood within our lives, then we end up resorting to really the brothers that are out of necessity or out of obligation, not out of actual connection and community, if that makes sense. So we tend to end up finding our supporting men, and they may not even be supporting. That's the kicker. Majority of the time they aren't, but we find our friends of brothers in our jobs. What is that? Out of necessity, typically, or through our connections with typically our spouse, right? Every guy's heard, oh, you're going to love so-and-so's husband, or you're going to love so-and-so's boyfriend. We're going to do a double date. So things become out of obligation, not out of choice, not out of connection, not out of true bonding. And so when we look to creating this mindset that deviates from the narrative of the lone wolf and create the wolf pack, we have to find the brothers that we truly resonate with, who are truly going to help us to rise and rise with us and support us and understand us and give us space. Because that's part of what the struggle is that when we find men out of obligation, they don't understand us because they don't have the same or similar upbringing as we do, or have seen the life that we've seen or experienced even similar things. So we end up out of obligation just being friends with somebody who we tolerate or are around because it gives us an outlet, but not necessarily something that actually improves our life. So understanding that being conscious about our brotherhood is incredibly important. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by putting ourselves in positions to connect with men and connect with a diverse group of men who then we can whittle down to those who we really connect with, who we really can collaborate with, and who really bring something to our lives, and vice versa, we bring to theirs. And part of that is when we put ourselves in that position, we have to find these environments where those men are likely to show up. And that means either finding events, finding online communities, putting ourselves in the position to say that we're going to be in scenarios where these men exist, or giving ourselves the ability to say yes to environments in which we have the ability to explore finding these brothers. It doesn't necessarily have to be that even the event is 100% a men's event or is intentionally a men's development space. It can be any type of space, but saying yes to something maybe we normally wouldn't say yes to, because that gives us the ability to explore relationships with brothers out there and explore the types of brothers who are involved in those situations or in those environments, allows us to expand that group of men. So being intentional about where you go to find brothers, that is the importance of this, because the lone wolf doesn't succeed, but the wolf pack does. So developing your wolf pack, moving away from the mindset of the lone wolf and giving yourself the opportunity to grow and be challenged, because the brothers that we find end up challenging us. They end up allowing us to see something different that maybe we desire in our lives that they have already created. It gives us outlets of people we can tap into, not only for men who can hear us and be like, yeah, bro, I totally understand. I get it. I've been there before. I have the same issues. I've been through those issues. But also people who can give us pointers or tools in like, yeah, when I was working through that, it took me this, this, and this. And it means something different when a brother shares that with us, as opposed to, one of our sisters, right? And giving ourselves the ability, or the women in our lives, giving ourselves the ability to allow these brothers to help us be something different, change the aspects in which we live our lives and how we see ourselves and what we believe ourselves capable of doing. So understanding that we can dive into that. And one of those places is the Wild Man Experience that I create, but it's not just that place. There's other men's development spaces that have really good environments where you can collaborate and connect with other men. But obviously the Wild Man Experience, which we have coming up, we have one in August in Kodiak. It's going to be 10 men, 10 brothers who you get the ability to dive into deep conversations with and experience a really fun environment out in Kodiak, Alaska for 6 days. I mean, it's beautiful. We're going to be doing a lot of fishing, ATVs, boat plane flights, sightseeing, Kodiak bear viewing, all kinds of stuff, guys. We have a lot packed in there, but the Kodiak event is incredibly special because you get to build like-minded brothers. You get to start building your pack, but you also get to experience a place that many haven't experienced or is on many people's bucket lists. So the other thing is there's another Wild Man Experience in Corpus Christi, which is a little different. It's a 3-day event. And that is the event in November, from November 3rd to November 6th, where you get to explore a different side of masculinity, in the sense of you get to see what a little bit of taste of what I went through in special operations and protection. We do it out on a ranch in Texas. And we get to shoot out of helicopters and moving vehicles. You get to learn some skill sets that I utilized overseas. And you guys get to get behind sniper rifles. But baked in all of that, you guys actually get to have deep connection with your brothers as well. You get to have brothers who really have open conversations, honest conversations with you. And you guys can really dive into exploring not only your struggles, but who you are. And we get to have a lot of conversations like that all together. So there's biohacking involved. We do ice baths and saunas. We also have a lot of gifts for you guys. So there's 2 Wild Man Experiences where you can start to cultivate your brotherhood, your tribe of men who support you and find their way into your life as lifelong brothers, just like you into theirs. So come join us if you guys are interested. The last slide after the video has my contact information, from johnnyelsasser.com to johnny.elsasser on IG. Shoot me a message. Let me know that you're interested, and we can talk about getting you guys involved in one of these events, because putting yourself in the physical space is the best place to create these bonds. I'm all about virtual environments as well, if you have nothing else. But the physical energy that you get with these men is completely different from just putting yourself in a virtual space. So if you guys are interested, if this resonates with you and a brotherhood is what you're looking for, and you're tired of being the lone wolf and you want to get to having a pack of men, this is where you need to be. Like-minded men who are on this journey of development and see the world differently and know that there's work to be done individually and also together. So come join us, the Wild Man Experience. We have Kodiak, Alaska, August 2nd through the 7th, and we have November 3rd through the 6th in Texas, Corpus Christi. Kodiak's a 6-day, and Corpus Christi is a 3-day. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode today on the YouTube channel, and I look forward to seeing you guys here again.